Hey guys, my name is Dee, and I am the author of medschoolfordummies.com. You can find it at medschoolfordummies.blogspot.com actually. And I noticed recently that YouTube has a lot of great information for pre-meds, but it's a little bit scattered and sometimes it comes from questionable sources. So I decided to compile a lot of my information from my blog in order to get more order and more organization in the pre-med YouTube community. So, a little bit about myself. First of all, everything I say is my opinion. What I did learn from my interview trail, what I was told from feedback from interviewers. So please take it with a grain of salt. I don't claim to have all of the answers, though I hope you will find me to be a reliable resource for you in the future. I'm graduating from a major public university this year with a major of biochemistry and a minor in dance, and I will be going to medical school in the East Coast next year. So today what I wanted to talk about is for who I call the pre-med community, students who are in high school who are considering universities to attend for pre-med purposes. Um, and so, first of all, I'd like to just start by saying there's really three big things that every well-rounded pre-med needs. First of all, you need community service. You need to be active in your community. You need to show that you care about your community. They really do look nowadays for people helping people, people healing people, not just doctors healing patients. So that's really a big thing. You also need some community service that is clinically related. It can be a job, that's fine as well, but you need to be able to justify why you want to go to medical school. So naturally, you need to have done at least some time in a clinic, in a hospital, in a private practice, anything like that. And finally, the third one is just for people who are really interested in going to a prestigious university like Harvard Medical School, Johns Hopkins, etc. The really big prestigious schools tend to be heavy on research to the point where it really isn't a requirement. Some medical schools are not as interested in research, but it can never hurt to have research experience. So let's talk about that first, and that is go to a university that has a pre-med or at least an undergraduate research program. You want to go to a school that will be able to support you in a lab, even if it's just something that's not medically related, that's fine as well. Medical schools just want to see that you have a curiosity for the creation of new knowledge, especially the top schools. So it doesn't have to be biomedical related. I actually did research on ants and behavior in insect groups. So got a lot of positive feedback about that. They were much more interested in the methodology, in the analytical mind than really the topic. Because honestly, you're probably not going to be a first author publication kind of thing in your undergraduate experience. If you can do that, great. That's an awesome thing to be able to do, but it's not very common. And it's not necessary to get the benefit of research. So second of all, you want to go to a moderately well-known school. I did not go to a top 10, top 20, or even a top 100 university, but you want to go to schools that are going to have at least some pull. All right, you don't want to be the first pre-med to come out of that school because a lot of universities, a lot of medical schools really compare you to the average medical applicant from that school in order to compare GPAs, MCAT scores, etc. See how good of a student you actually are relative to your other students at your university. So I'd say try to go to a top 200 or so university. That increases your chances of having good pre-medical advising offices. You hear a lot in the pre-med community that sometimes medical advising isn't up to par. I'm not going to comment on my experience, but you will definitely get a more knowledgeable staff if you're going to one of the better universities in our country. But it doesn't need to be Harvard. I interviewed at Harvard's medical school, and they straight up told me, we don't care where you're from, we just care what you've done. And going to a good school that's in the top 100, that's a big public school or a private school, that'll be just fine. It's all about what you do, not the name that you have graduating from there. So go to a school that is near a medical school or at least a teaching hospital and preferably is affiliated. You always have the inside man advantage when you go to a university with a medical school, at that medical school. So let's say I went to UCLA and I worked for 2 years doing research with a professor at UCLA's medical school. He's going to write a great letter of recommendation It's going to be a name that they know and trust at the medical school admissions. So you increase your chances of getting into that school, and you also increase your chances of being able to work with people who really know how to get into medical school and who will be doing work and writing letters of recommendation that will help you get into medical school. And so finally, go to a school that's in a city, or at least close to a city. Bottom line, cities have a lot of stuff to do. You need to do stuff to get into medical school. Anything outside of community service, research, and clinical volunteering is going to help you extremely, but you're going to find that kind of stuff in a city more than in a rural school. You will be able to find it in a rural school, but it won't be as diverse and you won't have as many things to choose from. Going to a big city also guarantees you're going to have some pretty good hospitals. If you're looking to do some volunteering, emergency medicine tends to be the easiest place to volunteer in. If you're in an urban area, chances are they're going to have a pretty good emergency medicine clinic somewhere in one of the hospitals. So yeah, that's all for today. Once again, my blog is medschoolfordummies.blogspot.com. You're welcome to check that out, and I will be posting more and more of the videos along the way during the summer because I'm kind of lonely. Everyone's graduated. I'm stuck here doing research with my bugs, and they don't really talk so much. So I will see you soon.